Returning now to our studios to discuss the implications of a bankrupted UNRWA is founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, Dr. Martin Sherman. Dr. Sherman, thank you for joining us, as always, of course. So the big question, of course, is what comes next?
Well, the question first of all, I think we should really welcome this step because it's long overdue. I remember almost a decade ago giving a lecture in the Knesset and bringing up exactly the same reasons that have been brought up now to stop the aid. The answer is obvious. The Palestinian so-called refugees should be absorbed in the countries of residence or in third-party countries that are prepared to accept them. And if anything, the funding that UNRWA has received should be used for the integration of these so-called refugees in their countries of residence or in third-party host countries.
Well, listen, I hear you saying, and I hear what you think should happen, but again, Israel was one of the many nations that agreed with the UN to create UNRWA in the first place, and this also is unrealistic. These countries this is Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Gaza. They're most likely not going to accept massive millions of refugees.
The question is why not? Because in many ways, UNRWA has been transformed from a humanitarian organization to a political organization which is using the humanitarian side to promote its political agenda, which is to perpetuate the right of return. Now, unless you accept the right of return, you have to oppose UNRWA. The right of return means basically the elimination of Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. I mean, does anyone really believe that even if a Palestinian state were to be set up in Judea and Samaria, that it could absorb all these millions of faith-stricken individuals who are living in Syria, in Jordan, in other places around the world? How would they be able to set up a stable society if they had the sudden influx of refugees? So the only reason for perpetuating UNRWA is to keep alive the right of return. And the only way to extinguish that is to set up a program that results in their resettlement in other countries. Because there's no way that, as long as UNRWA exists and you have this overhang of a Palestinian diaspora threatening to flow into Israel, destabilize the whole region, there'll be no solution. Doesn't matter whether it's a one-state solution, a two-state solution, or a three-state solution, or 10-state solution. As long as you have this overhang of millions of refugees that will flow into any territory evacuated by Israel, there'll be no solution.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, we just heard Netanyahu say this is money that should be rerouted to other organizations, and you just brought up an interesting idea. What if there was money being used to give to other countries that currently have millions of refugees, Palestinian refugees who live in camps, sometimes their whole life? Why isn't that the idea on the table?
Well, I think it should. I think it should be on the table. But one of the reasons that it's not on the table is because in the Arab League there's a decision to deny Palestinians who've been resident in their countries for decades citizenship, so that they can keep alive the hope of return. In fact, let me read you a quote. In the LA Times in 2004. Hisham Youssef, a spokesman for the Arab League, acknowledged that the Palestinians live in very bad conditions, but the official policy is meant to preserve the Palestinian identity. If every Palestinian who sought refuge in a certain country were integrated and accommodated in that country, there won't be any reason for them to return to Palestine. Precisely the point. So the people who are most zealous about preserving the Palestinian identity are not the Palestinians themselves, it's the other Arab world who want to use them as a card to prize loose the Jewish hold of of Israel, and so they can be replaced by the Palestinian Arabs.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, this is quite a large change in U.S. policy.
It's a sea change, and like moving the embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing Jerusalem, I can just hope that this is an additional step in a very welcome change in U.S. policy, especially compared to the last administration.
Well, we can only see what's going to happen. Some have warned that this will only embolden more extremist Palestinian groups like Hamas to create violence as a counterbalance. But either way, maybe we'll be back discussing that.
I don't think Hamas needs an excuse.
Dr. Sherman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Of course.